Good day everyone. Welcome to the lecture series on power electronics. In previous session we have discussed effect of source inductance on full converter, single phase and three phase. Now in this session we shall discuss dual converters, single phase and three phase. We know that full converter that uses all thyristors are two quadrant converters. Because of wide range of control over output voltage, there is a possibility of bipolar voltage across the load. However, current through load is unidirectional due to presence of unidirectional switches that are used to design a converter, right? So current is always positive, but voltage can be either positive or negative based on the firing angle. For alpha less than 90 degrees, full converter would be operated in the first quadrant where voltage across load and current through load both are positive, right? So it is corresponding to rectifier mode. Similarly, if alpha is greater than 90, current is still positive, current through load is going to be always positive, as current switches that are used in converter are unidirectional, but voltage can be negative for alpha greater than 90 degrees. So operation of the full converter in the fourth quadrant, that is corresponding to inverting mode. And if you operate full converter in this fourth quadrant, so it is also known as line commutated inverter, right? So for alpha ranging from 0 to 90, full converter would be operated as rectifier. Similarly, for alpha ranging from 90 degrees to 180 degrees, full converter would be operated in inverting mode, right? Similarly, coming to the semi-converter, so that uses thyristors and diodes. So they are one quadrant converters. So we have limited range of control over the output voltage, and it is possible to control the voltage in only one direction. So that is unipolar voltage is possible, and current is always unidirectional for semi-converter or full converter. So only one quadrant operation is possible. So a single phase semi-converter can be operated as a rectifier only for entire range of alpha ranging from 0 to 180 degrees, right? So for example, if one want to have 4 quadrant operation of a converter, okay, whenever you are using a converter for driving motor, so there may be a requirement of 4 quadrant operation. So you need to operate in 4 quadrants, so based on the requirement. So then the full converter or semi-converter may not meet this requirement of 4 quadrant operation, but you can do this thing. So if you consider single phase dual converter, so you can consider dual converter. Let us consider single phase dual converter. So in dual converter we have 2 converters. So converter 1 and converter 2. You can see this is converter 1. So these 4 thyristors T11, T12, T13, T14. So these are going to be connected. They are going to form a bridge, and they are going to be getting supply from single phase AC source, and that is connected to load. Similarly, if you have if you observe carefully, you can see one more converter constituted by these 4 thyristors T21, T22, T23 and T24. So these 4 converters, so they form a bridge, and they get supply from again same AC voltage source, and this also connected across the load. Now if you see, we have 2 anti-parallel single phase full converters supplying power to the load, right? So this kind of arrangement is known as dual converter. So dual converter, and you can control the converter 1 by firing angle alpha 1. Similarly, you can control second converter, that is converter 2, by firing angle, let me say alpha 2. Now by controlling these thyristors in converter 1 and converter 2 by respect to firing angles, you can operate this particular overall arrangement in 4 quadrant. So voltage across this can be positive or negative. For example, if this is activated, this converter 1 is activated, then current is positive and voltage can be positive or negative. So these first quadrant and fourth quadrant operation is possible with respect to this converter 1. Similarly, if converter 2 is operated, if converter 2 is dominating and it is supplying power to the load, required power by the load, then what would happen? So then so this is anti-parallel. No, this is so it would for alpha ranging from 0 to 90, it can supply the load with negative voltage. This with respect to this polarity, you are going to have negative voltage, and current direction is also going to be reversed. Now by controlling this converter 2, you can have either positive voltage or negative voltage, but current is always, so current would be this way. So current would be this way. Okay. So now if you let me take pen here and let me mention. So current through converter 1 would be this way, where current through converter 2 would be, that is this way. So current through this converter 2 would be this way. Now this converter 1 inject current in this direction, downward direction. So when it is operating alone. Similarly, when converter 2 is operating alone, so it would inject current into the load in opposite direction, where voltages can be positive or negative. After all, these two converters are full converters. So by controlling firing angles in appropriate way, one can control voltage across this load from negative to positive also. So this way, so by converter 1, you can have operation in first and fourth quadrant, and using converter 2, you can have the operation in second and third quadrant. So this way, the single phase dual converter can be used to obtain 4 quadrant operation. Similarly, you can use 3 phase dual converter again. So you can see that 2 converters, so full converter 1 and full converter 2, they are connected in anti-parallel across the load, and they get supply from 3 phase AC, 3 phase balanced AC. Now, so by activating this converter, or by considering this converter, you can have the first and fourth quadrant operation, and this second converter. So the second converter provides operation in second and third quadrant. That way, so these single phase or 3 phase dual converter can be used to obtain this 4 quadrant operation. So dual converter with 2 full converters in anti-parallel and connected to a same DC load, or 4 quadrant converters. How can you obtain a 4 quadrant operation? So now for alpha 1 less than 90 degrees, for alpha 1 less than 90 degrees, so this converter provides first quadrant operation. For alpha 1 greater than 90 degrees, the same first converter provides the fourth quadrant operation. Similarly, for alpha 2 less than 90 degrees, so this converter 2 would provide second quadrant operation, and for alpha 2 greater than 90 degrees, second converter provides the third quadrant operation. Okay, so this way one can use 3 phase or single phase dual converter to obtain 4 quadrant operation. Now let us see ideal dual converter operation. So what I do, anyway, so again you need to use 2 full converters in anti-parallel across the load, right? So that is what indicated here. So converter 1 is indicated with this battery along with the diode 1, right? And second converter is indicated with this converter 2 along with this diode 2. So these diodes are inserted in order the diode 1 and diode 2, they indicate the direction of the current flowing through converter 1 and converter 2. So converter 1 would inject current in this direction, where converter 2 inject current in this direction, that is this way. Okay, so now this V01 and V02 are the voltages across converter 1 and converter 2 respectively. By controlling the firing angle alpha 1 and alpha 2 to these 2 converters, you can obtain 4 current operation across the load. Okay, you can have either polarity for voltage, and you can have either direction, so that is top to bottom or bottom to top for the current also. Now a firing angle control should be in such a way that alpha 1 plus alpha 2 must be equal to 180 degrees in case if you operate both at a time. For example, if you operate converter 1 alone, so then alpha 1 can you can vary alpha 1 from 0 to 90 to have the rectifier mode operation, that is for first quadrant operation, and if you maintain alpha 1 greater than 90 degrees, you will have fourth quadrant operation. Similarly, if you operate this converter 2 alone, So then you can have either second quadrant operation or the third quadrant operation. But for example, if you want to operate both of them together, then you have to maintain this relation between alpha 1 and alpha 2. So that is firing angle for converter 1 and firing angle for converter 2. So they must sum up to 180 degrees. Let us derive this condition. So we know average voltages across converter 1 and converter 2 are, so let me indicate them by V01 and V02. They are equal to VOM into cos alpha 1, VOM into cos alpha 2 respectively. So what is this VOM? VOM that is equal to 2 VM by pi for single phase, that is equal to 3 VML by pi for 3 phase. What is VM here? So VM here is the peak value of phase voltage for single phase converters. Similarly, VML is line to line peak voltage for 3 phase converter case. So substituting them, you would get the mathematical expression for average voltage across converter 1 and converter 2 respectively. Now we know converter 1 and converter 2 are connected in anti-parallel, so the battery polarities are you can see, so they are in anti-parallel, right? They are in anti-parallel. Now for example, I am operating both at a time. So then you should maintain alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is equal to 180 degrees. Let us derive this condition. So we know average voltage when both are operating at a time. So you should have this kind of relation. So V naught voltage across load must be is equal to V01. That must be is equal to minus of V02. Right? So when both are operating at a time. We know V01 is equal to VOM into cos alpha 1, and where V02 is equal to VOM into cos alpha 2. So V01 equal to minus V02, let you equal them, and from this particular expression you will get alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is equal to 180 degrees. So 180 degrees. So this is the condition. Okay, or alpha 2 is equal to 180 degrees minus alpha 1. So this is the condition in order to operate this dual converter. Okay, so when you want to operate converter, when you want to put converter 1 and converter 2 into operation at a time, you should maintain this particular relation between alpha 1 and alpha 2, right? So now you can also indicate the value of voltage across converter 1 and converter 2. In fact, average value of voltage across converter 1 and converter 2. So you can find its relation with respect to their corresponding firing angles. As alpha 1 is varying from 0 to 90, you can see that V01 is positive. But what is V02? So V02, so alpha 2 anyway, alpha, so for V02 would have negative voltage. It is connected in anti-parallel, no? So if alpha 2 is varying between 0 to 90 degrees, you should have voltage with this polarity, positive. So with this polarity positive, then so with respect to V01 polarity, that is going to be negative. That is what indicated here. And if you increase the alpha 1 and alpha 2 beyond 90 degrees, you are going to have this kind of the variation for voltage across, average voltage across each converter, right? So of course V01 is equal to minus of V02, right, if both are operating at a time. And we know converter 1 would inject current in this direction only, where converter 2 would inject current in this direction. Now so if you see current contribution due to converter 1, so that is this way, so that is in the direction, where converter the contribution of current, load current from converter 2 would be this way. Okay, please note that. Now if contribution of current due to converter 1 is more than contribution of current due to converter 2, then automatically the net current direction would be this way only. So the operation in converter operation would be either in first quadrant or in fourth quadrant. Similarly, if converter 2 is dominating, then this current, converter 2 current injection is more dominant compared to converter 1. So in that particular case, the operation in the second and third quadrant is possible. So this is about ideal dual converter. So online and in this particular ideal dual converter case, you can see that if both are operating at a time, so one must be operated as rectifier, other must be operated as inverter, right? You can see alpha 1, for example, alpha 1 is equal to 30 degrees, that is less than 90 degrees, then alpha 2 must be equal to 150 degrees. So from this relation you can see that if converter 1 is in rectifier mode, then converter 2 must be in inverter mode. So then only this relation is going to be valid. Okay, proper operation. So operation would be proper if and only if one is acting as a rectifier where other is acting as an inverter. So now coming to practical dual converter case, if you consider operation of practical dual converter, there are two possible mode of operations. The first one, so dual converter without circulating current. Second one, dual converter with circulating current. So dual converter without circulating current, only one converter is going to be put into operation at a time, where other would be in blocking mode. So only one converter is in operation at a time and it alone carries entire load current, where other converter is blocked from the conduction. So when it comes to dual converter operation with circulating current, so in that case both are going to operate at a time with this condition. So in order to operate both at a time, you must maintain this condition, alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is equal to 180 degrees. And this is the case for dual converter with circulating current. So this condition has to be maintained. Under this particular condition, so under this particular mode of operation of dual converter, one converter operates as a rectifier where other operates as inverter. The average values of output voltage across each converter are going to be equal, of course maybe with different polarity, but coming to the instantaneous values, they are going to be different. Instantaneous values are going to be different. However, average value overall throughout the period, if you consider average value, that is going to be equal. So because of instantaneous values of voltage across output voltage across each converters are different, there is possibility of large circulating current flow between two converters, so which may lead to damage of the converter devices. Thyristors can be damaged due to large circulating current flowing through them, right? So and how can you overcome this problem? You can overcome this problem by inserting a reactor which can limit the circulating current. Okay, you can insert a reactor in between converter 1 and converter 2 so that the circulating current between converter 1 and converter 2 can be limited. And you have to keep one thing in mind, that circulating current would flow between converter 1 and converter 2 only, and load current, the circulating current will not enter into the load. Okay, that is one important point to be remembered. Now let us see dual converter without circulating current. Now you can see that so this is a circuit diagram for single phase dual converter without circulating current, and this is circuit diagram corresponding to three phase dual converter without circulating current. Now in this if you want to operate these two converters in without circulating current mode, then what we have to ensure? We have to ensure that one converter is operating at a time. Okay, both should not operate at a time. If both are operating at a time, then maybe their average voltage across the converters may be equal, but instantaneous values are not going to be equal. So which may lead to large circulating current, and there is no limiting reactor here. You can see that there is no, so both are going to be short circuited in fact. So large circulating current would flow through these two converters, which may lead to damage of the thyristors that are present in this particular converter 1 and converter 2 in single phase dual converter as well as in three phase dual converter. So you should be very, very careful. You should ensure that one converter is operating at a time. Okay, both should not operate simultaneously. So for example, let me say that converter 1 is operating and converter 2 is kept idle. It is not conducting any current. So and I want to change the operation from this to this. For example, I would like to change the reversal. I would like to go for reversal of current. If converter 1 alone is operating, then current direction is this way, that is positive from top to bottom. Okay, current will flow this way. For example, if I want to reverse the current, then what you should do? You should change the operation from converter 1 to converter 2. Okay, so you should change from one converter to other converter, but that should not take instantaneously. Okay, and if that takes place instantaneously, there may be chance of large circulating current. Okay, there may be possible of overlap between converter 1, converter 2, which may lead to the overlapping current, which is also known as circulating current. That may lead to damage. So then, how to change over from one converter to other converter in order to go for reversal of current? So that let us see the steps that are involved and the assumptions that I am going to consider for changeover of from one converter to other converter. Assumption 1 is that, let me assume that converter 1 is supplying load at this instant and converter 2 is in blocking mode, and I would like to block converter 1 now, and I would like to switch converter 2. Okay, so initially this converter 1 is converting and converter 2 is in blocking mode, and I would like to change I would like to interchange their roles. I would like to operate this and I would like to block this. So how can we do it? How can you do it? One should be very careful. You should follow some steps in order to avoid the circulating current. So what are those steps? Step 1. So remove the gate pulses for converter 1 thyristors. Okay. So remove firing pulses for converter 1 thyristors. Okay. And then so wait for some time. So wait for certain amount of time so that current through converter 1 is fall to 0. Current through all thyristors or fall to 0, because there may be some time taken by each thyristors to ensure that current through them is becoming 0. So after outgoing thyristor, now this blocking so you want to block this and you want to on this, no? So this is known as outgoing converter, and this is second converter is known as incoming converter. So after outgoing converter stop conducting, after this converter stop conducting completely, so you can apply the firing pulses for the thyristors that are present in this converter 2 with some delay of 10 to 20 milliseconds. Why should you ensure this delay? So if this delay is not maintained, maybe that may be cause for unwanted conduction of this thyristor converter 1 also. So this delay of 10 to 20 milliseconds before applying firing pulses, you should maintain this particular delay. This delay ensures the reliable commutation of SCRs that are present in outgoing converter. So this is the way to change over from one converter to other converter in dual converter operation without circulating current. You should be very, very careful. Okay. So say, of course, the procedure is same for 3-phase dual converter also. If you want to change over from one converter to other converter in 3-phase dual converter operation without circulating current, you should follow the same steps. Okay. So you should follow the same steps. Now you should be very, very careful. There should be a time delay. You cannot operate them with whatever the frequency you want. Okay, there should be some time delay between changeover from one converter to other converter. If you want to go for reversal of current, there must be some time delay. For example, you want to have regular reversal of current. So in operation of the converter, for example, if you want to operate this converter in 4 quadrant and you want to have regular interchange of current direction, then so this may not be suitable. Dual converter without circulating current mode, so this may not be suitable because you require some time between switching over from one converter to other converter. So in order to change, in order to reversal the current flowing through the load, there is some time gap. Okay, so this you have some limitation imposing on the operation of this dual converter without circulating current. You cannot operate them at any frequency that you want. Now let us see operation of dual converter with circulating current. Now you can see, so this is single phase dual converter with the circulating current. So in order to limit the circulating current, you should we have inserted a reactor between converter 1 and converter 2. So 50% of reactor is connected towards this converter 1 and 50% so connected this side. So we have divided reactor into two parts. So one is connected in series with the converter 1 and other is connected in series with converter 2, and you can see this is equal to L by 2 and the second one also L by 2. So symmetric, we have symmetry in this with respect to this connection. Okay, reactor is L by 2 and L by 2. So that is for converter 1 it is L by 2 and converter 2 also it is L by 2. And this reactor, purpose of this reactor is to limit the circulating current. Now similarly coming to 3-phase dual converter, again we have the reactor in between converter 1 and converter 2, and the role of this reactor is to limit the circulating current. You can see whenever you are trying to change or trying to reverse the current direction, so we have this opposition, so that would takes there is gradual, you are going to have a gradual increasing gradual change in the reversal of current, and this this gradual change would limit the circulating current. Okay, in fact these reactors are going to limit the circulating current, right? Now you can see that this is converter 1 and this is converter 2, and this is converter 1 and this is converter 2, and in order to operate dual converter in circulating current mode, you should maintain alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is equal to 180 degrees. And if you maintain alpha 1 plus alpha 2 180 degrees, so one converter is going to operate in rectifier mode, other is in inverting mode. The average value of output voltages of two converters are going to be equal, but instantaneous values of output voltages, so V01 and V02, are not going to be equal. And due to this unequal instantaneous voltage across two converters, we are going to have the circulating current, and that can be limited by the reactor. Okay, this reactor. Okay, this is about the operation of dual converter with circulating current. Okay, now you can see that you need not maintain a time gap between switching over from one converter to other converter. For example, you want to go for reversal of current, usually without circulating current. So you have to turn off this converter, you have to switch off this, you have to block this converter first, and then you have to maintain some time gap, and then you have to switch this converter, right? Converter 2. But when it comes to the circulating current mode, no need to maintain the time gap. Okay, you need to maintain some time gap. So that is one of the advantage. And coming to disadvantages, so you need a reactor to limit the circulating current. The size and cost of the reactor is going to be quite significant at higher power level. So size and cost of converter dual converter may increase as power level that you need to handle that is increasing, so it is going to increase. It is proportional to power level that you are going to handle. So the cost and size is one of the problem, and circulating current gives rise to more losses in the converters, right? We know converters I have considered ideal switches. In case switches are not ideal, so this large current, circulating current that is flowing through the switches are going to lead to large switching losses, large losses switching losses or conduction losses across the switches. So which leads to the poor efficiency and poor power factor. Okay, and as the converter has to handle load current as well as circulating current, thyristors for two converters must be rated at higher currents. You have to select the thyristors with higher current rating, because the thyristors that are present in the converters, they are not going to handle only the load current. They also need to handle the circulating current. So the rating of the thyristors must also be selected in such a way that is very high. But we have advantage also. What is advantage? So the normal delay of 10 to 20 milliseconds is required in case of circulating current free operation is not required. So operation is quite faster when compared to that without circulating current. Okay, without circulating current. So you should be very careful. Okay, small correction here. So small correction. So please note that it is with circulating current. Okay, so presently we are discussing dual converter with circulating current. So make this correction. Okay, yeah. So now, in spite of having this disadvantages, this demerits with dual converter with circulating current mode operation, it is more popular. In fact, that is preferred in case the load current is to be reversed quite frequently and a fast response is required. In that case, it is recommended to use dual converter with circulating current. Okay, so this is one of the one of the important point to be remembered. So in fact, dual converter with circulating mode are more popular because of this advantage. Even though we have disadvantages, still they are popular, especially for these applications. So what is the application? Load current is reversed very frequently, and faster response is required in 4-current operation. So you must go for this converter, dual converter with circulating current. Okay, so this is about the dual converter operation with circulating current and without circulating current respectively. So please thank you, and let me know if you have any doubts, any clarification required. Please reach me through the mail ID that is given in the description. Thank you.